So we made a video during the 2023 playoffs after the Warriors got bounced by the Lakers on how we thought that their dynasty was finally coming to an end. And we got some pushback from the Dubs fans in the comments. Well, they're now on a 6-game losing streak, and we have their draft pick.
Yeah, they kept saying, well, we'll see next year. No, they always say this about the Warriors. No, it's officially over.
Before we start talking about the Warriors, if you haven't already, make sure you leave this video a like, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on one of our videos. So the Warriors are coming off a rather turbulent 2022-23 season. I mean, the year prior, they had surprised, I think, a ton of people, winning another NBA championship. And I think the expectations was last year they were going to be contenders again, although the season did get off to a somewhat punchy start when Draymond cold-cocked Jordan Poole at practice. And from then on, it never seemed like they could put it all together.
Yeah, it's tough to win after that happens. And Draymond and Jordan Poole hated each other. I think most of the Warriors core hated Jordan Poole, and they might have been right because he's been absolute ass for the Wizards.
And he's already pissing off his teammates, it seems like.
Yeah, they bring in Chris Paul for Jordan Poole, which, probably still a positive, but at the same time, Chris Paul's completely washed. You lose Dante DiVincenzo to the Knicks and Iggy to retirement, and then you bring in Corey Joseph and Dario Saric, kind of just lateral moves. There's not much going on there. Dante DiVincenzo, honestly, is a decent-sized loss.
Big loss. Yeah, the Chris Paul fit was wonky, and obviously losing DiVincenzo hurts, but I think people expected the Warriors to play closer to what they did in 2022 than how they did in 2023. And you know what? Their season actually started pretty well. Yeah, they dropped their first game to Phoenix, but after that, they won 6 of 7, and you know what? There's some good wins in there. There's road wins against the Kings, the Rockets, the Pelicans, the Thunder. They also got a home win against the Kings. Since that, 6-game losing streak.
And it's been tough. I mean, the Western Conference this year is ridiculous. You lose to Denver, Cleveland, Minnesota twice, OKC twice. Steph was out for a bit. Draymond obviously suspended. So there is some reasons, but their shooting has just been absolute shit.
Yeah, I mean, to lose 5 straight at home for the Golden State Warriors, that's inexcusable. And like, their schedule has been brutal. I mean, if you look at their schedule, most of those teams I think are going to be fighting for playoff positions. Plus, they're probably in the most difficult division in the NBA. They still got to play the Lakers 4 times, the Clippers 4 times, the Suns 3 times, the Kings 2 more times. So maybe once their schedule starts to clear up a little bit, they can get a little bit better. But boy, I don't know.
The one guy you can't blame is Steph Curry. The dude right now might be as good as he's ever been. He's shooting 44.6% from 3. That doesn't sound like a real number. If he's able to keep that up the entire year, absolutely insane.
Bafflingly, I don't think that's the best of his career.
That is crazy.
Also worth noting that his assists have fucking plummeted from 6.3 a game to 3.8 a game, but we'll get more into why a little later. And he's missed a few games here and there, but again, he's 35, so that's not really surprising. You kind of got to pencil that in. Either way, it's obvious he's not the problem. It's everybody else that's the problem. His supporting cast looks mega washed. Now, the Warriors are getting some decent minutes from guys like Kuminga and to a lesser extent, Chris Paul and Dario Saric. I mean, Kuminga, he's got his scoring output up to about 12 points a game. Chris Paul's given him 9 points per game and 7 assists per game on bad shooting, but realistically, if you expected anything more from him, that's on you. And you know what? Dario Saric is giving them about 9 points per game and 6 boards off the bench, which, I mean, literally anything he gives you is a plus, because I would have expected nothing.
Yeah, the problem, getting back to him, Klay Thompson, the dude has fallen off a cliff. 13.8 points per game on 40% shooting and 33% from 3. I honestly don't get it. You're supposed to get better at shooting as you age, but Klay completely has lost his shot.
He's lost his defense too. Can't guard a statue now. I mean, part of the reason why Steph and Klay worked for so many years was that Steph doesn't play defense, but he's got Klay to cover for him. So you don't have 2 defensive liabilities in their backcourt. I'm tempted to say it's injuries because obviously he tore his ACL in the 2019 finals, tore his Achilles only a month before he was supposed to come back from that injury. But looking at his stats the past 2 seasons, he's been pretty good, averaging right around 21, 22 points per game, shooting over 40% from 3. He has plummeted this year.
I mean, last year he hit the most threes out of any player in the NBA, and then this year the dude can't buy a 3.
Then we got Draymond. And look, his stats are more or less fine. They're basically what he's been doing for the past couple of years, but he's just been more of a menace on the court than usual, which, considering who we're talking about, is incredible. I mean, lest we forget what happened in the playoffs last year when he went all stompy on Sabonis' chest. And so far this year, I mean, he's gotten in it with Donovan Mitchell. He's gotten into it with Anthony Edwards. He obviously put Gobert in the goddamn sleeper hold, which he got a 5-game suspension for. Rudy's reaction to that is fucking hysterical, by the way.
Yeah, that is so funny. Obviously, the NBA has tightened up on this stuff, and that's part of the reason, but he was never getting suspended before. Obviously, there was the finals game. I get that, and in the playoffs, but in the regular season, this is kind of new territory for him.
I just love what Gobert said, how he says that Draymond intentionally gets ejected from games where Steph doesn't play.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, because someone went back and checked. Over the past 5 seasons, Draymond's played 196 games with Steph, and he's been ejected 4 times. He's played 75 games without Steph, and he's been ejected 7 times.
That is so funny. And then you got Andrew Wiggins. The guy he was a key piece on that championship team.
He was probably their second best player.
Yeah, he was their second best player. He was an all-star starter that year. I always got to bring that up because that's ridiculous. But for the Warriors, ever since he's been there, he's been a solid player. But this season, god damn, 10.5 points per game on 40% shooting. I know he came into the league with a shaky jumper, but ever since he's been with the Warriors, it's been pretty consistent.
Not this year.
Yikes. Yeah, this year, I don't know what happened.
13.5% shooting from 3. Like you said, he was 39% the past 2 years, and he's basically a third of that this year.
I'm not really shocked. Andrew Wiggins was never like a consistent NBA player, so it makes sense to an extent. Didn't expect it to be this bad, though.
I mean, we mentioned earlier Steph's assists being down because he's kicking out to these bums. Can't buy a basket, any of them. Honestly, though, I don't think this is particularly surprising. Why? You said it when we predicted every team's season in 3 words or less. This team is old as fuck. Yeah. Steph's 35. Klay and Draymond are both 33. Chris Paul is 38.
Yeah, and we're getting too used to these players just balling the hell out when they're older. Like, obviously, LeBron, what he's doing is just unreal. KD coming off the Achilles and still playing well at this age. And obviously, Steph is still, like we said, maybe the best he's ever been, at least near there. But what's happening to Draymond, Klay, and especially Chris Paul, like, it's to be expected. They're legends, but at the same time, Father Time always wins.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been getting tricked by LeBron, KD, and Steph. Like, they're the exceptions. Draymond and Klay and Chris Paul, like, that's natural. That's what happens to most guys. I mean, look, they were a dynasty. They had an incredible run. They've won 4 championships, but they're just past their best. It's what it is. And they can still replicate what they used to be from time to time because that's what great players can do. But it's the end of their run, and that's okay.
So some people in NBA media, mainly non-Warriors fans, non-Warriors media, have suggested maybe trading either Draymond or Klay to try to maximize Steph's last few years. I don't really know what they could get, but what are your thoughts on something like that?
I mean, I think the Warriors would be incredibly foolish to let that happen unless Klay or Draymond specifically asked for it. I mean, people need to keep in mind that before this run by the Warriors, they were a pretty shitty franchise. I mean, prior to the 2013 playoffs, which was the first playoffs they made with Steph, the Warriors had only made the playoffs 11 times in 40 years.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Like, even if you look at like the all-time winning percentage, I'm pretty sure the Warriors are still in the bottom half.
And now they're the most valuable franchise in the NBA. They're one of the most famous. They just moved to Chase Center in downtown San Francisco. Yeah, no shot they would do any of their legends like that.
That's the video, guys. What do you think of the Golden State Warriors? You think they're going to turn it around? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving it a like, as it really does help us out. And while you're here, why not check out some of our other videos as well? And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.